play pool.
Okay.
First things first.
All right.
Father, we stand before you and thank you for our many blessings, our ability to meet here in friendship as Lions, our ability to serve our community and help others. Ask you to watch over us in all that we do this year, help our activities to be successful, help us to make a lot of money for the community. We also ask you to bless this food which we've eaten and help us to be in your service. Amen. Amen.
Flag by Reed.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Song by Cindy.
My country to sunny, sweet land of liberty, of the I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of thy pilgrims high, from every mountain side, let freedom reign.
All right. Now I will turn this over to Isla and whoever is helping her. Steve.
We're here. Did I put my money in there? No? Where'd my money go? Oh, here it is. Okay. I'm putting in a happy dollar because yesterday, President Tom, guests, and fellow Lions. You can't find me.
Yes, we can.
You can't. No, you can't. Really. Yesterday was my anniversary, and my husband is the best ever. Okay. Margie, Rose, I just don't know names today.
President Tom, fellow Lions, and yes, I have a $5, very grateful $5 that many of you know that I have added to my family, a 4-month-old Labradoodle. Well, we made our first visit to Vancouver emergency. She was fully vaxxed, took her to John Knoll Park. An hour later, I thought she was having a seizure. Anyway, bottom line is, she was stoned. She got a hold of some marijuana, according to the vet. I tell you, the vet was very non-judgmental though when she said, is it possible she could have got into some marijuana? I said, well, not at my house. Anyway, I'm very grateful. It did take her 3 days. She was only 18 pounds. So
now you know what it's like to be stoned. Leon, Leroy, I cannot get names. When I got your names straight. Leroy Parcell, past president.
President Tom, fellow Lions and guests. So, and to start off with a happy dollar. Yesterday was listed my 25th wedding anniversary. We've been celebrating all weekend, and it's just been great. And just keep on with the adventures. Yeah, I know. So, to keep on with that celebration, though, the countdown is on. 21 days. We will be in Belize, and we'll be down there for about 2 weeks. And so, here we are. Anyway, so I'll just keep the countdown each week till we're gone. Oh, sorry. Anyway, next.
We have the same anniversary. Okay, here I go. Doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo. Hi. Doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo. Nobody wants to give me money today? Doo-doo, doo-doo. Marilyn Patterson, District Governor.
President Tom, fellow Lions and guests, I've got a happy dollar because my husband called me Valentine. Hey, where's my Valentine today?
Where's your badge? Oh. Mr. Jim Reineke, past District Governor. I can't talk.
King Lion Tom, fellow Lions and guests.
I've got two happy dollars. First happy dollar, well, one happy dollar and an explanation dollar. One of them is last week the sun was out nice and bright and clear, and I enjoyed it. It hadn't got anything to do with my face though. Back in the recent past, there was a couple of skin cancers discovered. I went to a dermatologist, and they gave me a little ointment to put on. I tell you the name of it, but it's 7 syllables, and Texans don't talk in anything over 2. But anyway, you smear it on lightly for 2 weeks. This is a week and a half. I don't know what the hell it's going to look like in 2 weeks. But supposedly, within 3 or 4 weeks after you complete that, you'll be back looking like Robert Redford again.
Have you seen Robert Redford lately?
He's been dead how many years?
He's not dead, is he? No. He's not dead. Oh, let's go to the annoying man back here.
Skip? Skip's here?
Oh, hi, Skip.
President Tom, fellow Lions and guests, I'm standing in this proximity only because I'm so eager to hear about the successful bio-valve adventure that Mr. Claypool had and the 26 clams that can speak to it. Well, that's the Claypool limits. Everybody else is 20, but
Mr. Steve Johnston, past zone chair. Yeah, she got it. President, whoever you are, Tom, I've been gone a few weeks.
Still alone.
There's a happy $5 just to come be back. And I'm glad you're back, Mr. Steve Johnston. I did that for you, Greg.
Thank you.
Greg. Yeah, Greg.
President Tom, fellow Lions and guests, where'd Randy go?
Behind you.
Well, there he is. I don't know about Robert Redford, but you look better now than you did before.
I resemble that.
No, you don't. Mr. Ron Duckworth.
President Tom, fellow Lions guests, just $5 for being here.
Woohoo! Mr. Hal Palmer, past council chair. Yeah.
Did a pretty good job. Your reading skills are much better. President Tom, Phil Lions, and guests, I'm just putting one very prayerful dollar in here. My brother is up at University of Washington Cardiac Center right now getting a test to make sure that he can have the ablation later this month. So he's kind of anxious about this, so he's having bad dreams, so y'all need to pray for him, okay?
He is so in my thoughts. Hello, hello, hello. Mr. Mark.
President Tom, District Governor of Maryland, fellow Lions and guests, the first dollar is for going to a Valentine's Day lunch yesterday. A couple decades ago, my wife and I decided we were going to give up on the Valentine's Day dinner thing with all the crowds and the limited venues. Comment before I forget to Rose back there. My dog, like most, does like to eat grass, but it's a different kind. Second dollar, kind of like Leroy, I have a little bit of a anniversary time period to come out here. The anniversary of my wife and I's first date is Sunday. I know it's kind of corny for most people, but it'll be 45 years on Sunday. Wow. Together, so it's nice. And finally, a sad dollar, because to commemorate that, we had scheduled a week down at the coast. Got a call from Gerhard Condos by the Sea, and they were going to have power shut down for 48 hours in the middle of our week down there. So that kind of canceled that. We had to bump back a week, but not quite 21 days. I think it's only 2 weeks, Leroy, for me.
Thank you. Mr. Tom Fulton, President. Oh, you have your own line.
And I have two happy dollars. Well, I don't know if they're happy.
You don't have them anymore.
They are now that
I don't have them anymore, so they're happy. They're happy somewhere. Anyway, yesterday Lloyd and I were at the shop, unloaded 50 bags of corn for our upcoming March 11th start of our kettle corn at Safeway. Thank you to Rose for setting that up for us. So we got a good deal on if we bought 50 bags, so we bought them. So thank you, everyone. I'm saying this because we're going to need help here soon.
Thank you, guys. Okay. We're going back this way, hon. Oh. Hi, Miss Cindy Fickett, Secretary.
President Tom, members and guests, I'm putting $1 in because I took my husband up to Tacoma to the McMinimans out there. And we had such a fine time. We went and found that secret hallway and that secret door. And we finally found the ballroom. I mean, they have these places hid. You really gotta find them. You wouldn't think you'd have to find a ballroom now, but we finally found it the last place we ate. We got like 5 places you could eat in there. And so we had a really great time. But I won't surprise him again because he had a meeting on Monday, had a meeting on Tuesday, and then he's a busy man. And then the other $1 is my sister Debbie is here. She's here from Tacoma.
I guess it runs in the family. We're getting things mixed up today.
That's not the line of the month?
Yes, she is.
Yes, she is. David, are you singing today? Yeah. Okay. All right, here, why don't you just sing first and pay later?
All right.
Yeah. David Smith.
President Tom, fellow Lions and guests, I'm just going to get on with the singing and I thank you. Thank you, Lord, for saving my soul. Thank you, Lord, for giving to me thy great salvation so full and free. I'm so happy, and here's the reason why. Jesus took my burdens all away. Once in life was full and strife. Now I'm singing as the days go by. Jesus took my burdens all away. And then I'll do one other last one. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God hath done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God hath done. So amid the conflict, whether great or small, God is over all. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many God blessings, see what God hath done. Thank you, and God bless each and every one of you.
And I collected $1 from the phone ringer, and I won't say who it was because she is a guest and my cousin. But because her sister didn't warn her about it, she paid the fine. That's it, Tom. Thank you.
All right. So moving along here, I'm going to turn this over to Mark.
Thank you, President Tom. Our speaker today is Dr. Dan Zorn, and I cheated and looked at some biographical information I was able to locate. So he can correct me if any of this is wrong. He was born in Montana, spent his early childhood there. He was in Chicago for 10 years, then returned to Montana and graduated from Shelby High School, about 30 miles from the Canadian border. Something most of us as Lions would appreciate because we're in a multiple district with British Columbia and we could share a lot of time with our Canadian friends. He had his bachelor's degree in elementary education from Northern Montana College, master's and doctorate from the University of Montana. He's previously worked as a teacher, principal, assistant superintendent, as well as football and basketball coaching prior to coming to Longview. Currently, if my notes are correct, you're in your 7th year as superintendent of Longview Schools. Dan's wife, Anne Marie, teaches in Kelso. They have 4 grown children, 3 grandchildren. He's a big fan of Chicago professional sports teams, especially the White Sox. Enjoys music and hiking, would like to get back to fly fishing when he retires. He spoke to us last year about pandemic impacts on schools and how that was affecting, and today they are sharing their information on a replacement levy for capital projects and technology, and he will introduce Tyson, who's part of the levy committee. Hopefully I got most of that correctly. So with that, please give a Lions warm welcome to Dr. Zan Zorn. I have sources.
Geez, and right down to, did you know where Shelby is?
I actually looked it up on the,
Okay, all right. There not many people know where Shelby is.
in the previous town, I think it's like 800 people.
Yeah, it is. It's, it's kind of funny because I moved between my sophomore and junior year of high school. I grew up in, was in 10 years in suburban Chicago, went to a high school of 3,000 kids, and then moved to Shelby, Montana, was in a high school of 300 kids for the second 2 years of my high school year. So just kind of a goofy kind of background that I have there. So I really appreciate the opportunity to be here today, and I've been in front of this group before, talking about various things, and always feel so welcome and just appreciate that so much. Coming around with some handouts right now is Tyson Jacob. Tyson is a community member who has been on our, let me see, Tyson is a community member who served on our facility advisory committee. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through just kind of a summary of what it is that we're looking at with our capital projects and tech levy request that is coming up in April. I'm going to have Tyson talk a little bit about just kind of where he's at, being a community member who has helped put this together for us. And then I've got a frequently asked question document that I want to share with you, and then take an opportunity to answer any questions that you might have. Okay? And I think I've got about 20 minutes. That sound about right, Mark? So I'm just going to kind of jump in. And so if you pull this document up right here, and Tyson's bringing it around, on the front side it says Longview Public Schools. So we do have a replacement capital projects and technology levy coming up. And it'll be in April. April 26th is the last day you'll be able to vote. The ballots will actually go out on April 8th is when they'll be delivered to your home. So we're out in front of this. This is actually the first public presentation I've done of this. Well, again, this is just kind of getting us kick-started in the information that is out there. We are presently sitting on a capital projects and technology levy that expires at the end of 2022. And traditionally, about every 4 years, we come back to get this levy renewed. And so that's why we talk about it replacing the levy that is expiring. So it's not a new levy, it's just a continuance that we need to vote periodically. So the levy that we have out there will cover the years from 2023 to 2026. And bottom line, what it does for us is it provides us as a school district the funds needed to maintain our facilities. And really, if you think about it in terms of, well, being a homeowner and just just everyday kind of upkeep that you have to go through to make sure you're extending the life of facilities that are out there. So in this, capital projects and tech levy can only be used for facilities related kind of issues that are out there in the district. So you look at roof replacements, flooring replacements, upgrades in parking lots, different fields that need work, and all of those kinds of things that just help us extend the use of our existing facilities. And so again, the old levy is expiring, and this levy is to come and replace that, so we have those needed funds for the following 4 years as well. In terms of, there's 5 areas that we're looking at focusing with this levy to help with the school district facility and technology needs. And you can see those listed. They're in the second paragraph there. What will replacement levy funds be used for? So the first thing is really just looking again to extend the useful lives of our building and facilities. You know, this community has invested literally millions of dollars into our school district facilities, and we feel it's our responsibility to make sure we get as much life as we possibly can out of those facilities. And so that requires a lot of upkeep, because our buildings are getting older, and so they need work, and we need to be sure that we're staying on top of that. So that's one area we're looking at. So we'll be looking at, again, like roof replacements, flooring, plumbing, electrical upgrades, playground improvements that need to be made throughout the district, and those types of things that are out there. The second area is looking at our classroom environments and making sure that our classrooms are just quality places for learning, that they have, the flooring that is needed to make it all work, that, walls are painted and taken care of, and all those things just to make sure that our classrooms are good places for our kids. We also look at air quality, those kind of issues, and also just making sure that we've got the proper heating and cooling to make sure that those environments themselves are conducive to high levels of learning. The third area that we're looking at is the technology area, and that means computers for our kids, making sure that they have that access that they need, presentation materials for our teachers, so that they all have the tools that they need to be able to be competitive as they move off into the next stage of their life after they graduate from high school. It's an area that we are increasingly dependent upon. Actually, many of our instructional materials are now found online, and so we need to be sure we've got ready access for our kids and our teachers to be able to provide quality instruction to our kids. The third area we're looking at is updating athletic facilities. Specifically, in this capital projects and tech levy request is a Memorial Stadium upgrade, something that is way overdue. We actually have a field that's too narrow to play soccer on there, so we play on a real narrow soccer field right now. We have some safety concerns on the sideline because of how close it is to the track. The track, frankly, probably should have been replaced 10 years ago, and we've just continued to just kind of pound away at it. So we need some real significant upgrades there. The grandstand needs some work to make sure that we're extending the life of that also. So with our athletic facilities, that's what we're looking at there. And then the final area is continuing the work that we've done to update the safety and security of our schools and try to make sure that we have systems in place that assure that access to our schools is limited to the people that need to be there. And so we've really working on a lot of different ways to just kind of control access so that we're sure that only the good guys are getting in and making sure that our kids are safe and secure in those school settings. So a lot of work that we've done along those lines. So those are the 5 areas that'll be funded through this capital projects request. Some examples of things that have been done recently are kind of listed there before. We've done a lot of roof projects in several of our buildings. They just need to continue to cycle through. We've done, if you've been in either one of our high school gyms here recently and watch, we've got some good basketball teams this winter too. So hopefully you have had a chance to see some of that. So we've refinished those floors. We've done a recent update to the Dick Mealy pool as well, all done with capital projects funds from the past. We've also done some work on that RA Long clock tower to kind of keep it cleaned up and make sure that we're again, extending the life of that, not allowing it to get degraded over time. And then security updates that we've done in several places in the district that need to continue. We're also in process of shifting to LED lighting away from the fluorescent lighting. That's part of our classroom environment efforts that I'd say we're probably about halfway through being able to get those upgrades done, and this new levy will help us continue on with this. So, immediate question that gets asked, well, what's it going to cost? If you go over to the back side of this, again, I want to reiterate that this is a replacement levy. And so how we have structured this levy request is to assure that our locally voted school tax rates get lower over the 4-year term. So the tax rates will actually decrease, but we all know the property values have increased over quite a bit actually in Longview over the last few years. And so even though the rate might be going down, values are going up, but to assure that the taxes remain below levels that are being collected now locally for schools, we've also set our collections to make sure that the money collected by the school district remains below the levels that have been collected in 2021, and we're in the process of collecting in 2022. Those two charts show that the first one shows the rate. Again, this is locally voted school taxes, so it includes our capital projects tech levy. We have an educational programs levy, and we also have, there's middle school bonds that were voted in about 15 years ago that expire the end of 2022. And so that's included in that as well. And then looking at our tax collections, actually decreasing a little bit over that 4-year term to where all 4 of those years of collections will be less than what was collected in 2021 and 2022. So that's kind of gives you a feel there for kind of where we are, where we're heading. I'm going to turn it over to Tyson now and have him talk a little bit from a community member standpoint. Tyson has worked on our athletic facility task force that met several years ago in looking to make sure that our athletic facilities are good and in a good shape to be able to serve our kids well, and then also has served on our facilities advisory committee as a community member. So Tyson, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Zorn. It's not very often I get to do something like this. 15 or 20 years. Anyway, it's probably not very often that you get to hear from somebody during a levy cycle like this, where somebody that actually benefits directly from a vote like this. I have 3 daughters, and I brought a picture right here. This was my wife's Christmas present a few years ago. A nice frame picture. 2 of them, twin daughters, go to Long, and a daughter that goes to CVG, Columbia Valley Gardens. And so we directly benefit from these dollars that can be raised in this replacement levy. My daughters play soccer on the soccer field that Dan talked about. Had a good record last year. My daughters play basketball on the gym floor that we refinished this past summer. Looks really great. And my youngest, she goes to CVG, and I believe that we're going to be working on the carpets possibly over there.
Yes.
At some point in the near future. And so all these dollars that we raise help to really strengthen the fabric of the community. Every year, there's a new batch of parents, a new batch of kids that enter kindergarten in our Longview School District, and they're coming to learn and grow into adults, and the parents all become friends and part of the community as well. So it's important that we have good facilities, good safe learning environment for our kids, and that's why it's a good idea to continue to sort of fix these buildings, I guess. We have a lot of buildings, as Dan was saying. And also one other important thing that Dan didn't mention is a lot of these funds are going to go to local contractors. that'll do the work on these projects. So, I think that's about all I've got to say, Dan.
All right.
So, I'll turn it back over to you for the question and answer.
All right. Thanks, Tyson. I appreciate that. Could you kind of hand these out now? Now, Tyson's going to come around now with this is a frequently asked question document that we have put together to kind of help you with, well, just kind of any questions that might come up. So what I'd like to do is maybe just start with questions that you have, and then if it's on here, I can kind of refer you to that. And if there aren't any questions, I'll take you through a few of these that I think are probably of particular interest to folks. So are there any questions about this right off the bat? Ken?
Dan, you talk an awful lot about the technology that's taking place in the school. The one thing that the community really has seen taking place, but don't really know why, all of our elementary schools now are enclosed with fencing. That's an added cost to what we're doing in our school system, and it adds to the levies that we look at. So not only are you doing a terrific job in the technology, but we're also protecting our students and the families that participate, especially at the elementary level.
Yep.
Could you touch on that?
Yep, I appreciate that, Ken, because the safety and security needs have been something that have been in the forefront. And in our last two bond requests that we had in, I want to say 2017, 2019, that just barely failed because we needed 60% passage. There was some upgrades within that. And so what we've done is we've taken our capital projects levy to be able to get some of those things done. And so what Ken is speaking of is we have put some fencing around our schools, particularly those that have multiple outside entrances, because in modern school construction, you're really trying to control access into schools, really kind of one point of entry that would be, during the day, but multiple ways out. And so what we've done at Kessler would be an example. You look at over at up at not CVG, up at Columbia Heights, out at Mint Valley. Those are schools that have multiple ways into the schools. So we have provided it's basically a buzz-in system. You kind of go, it's got a camera there attached right into the office. Someone comes up, we're able to recognize who it is. All right, this is somebody that's supposed to be here. They're able to buzz in, and then we get them into the school, and then they're on their merry way where they need to get. But it's a way to control that access. It's a little different than it was back when we were in school, but it's a very different environment. We have to be very mindful of that. And in our surveying of our community, safety and security always comes out as one of the very top considerations in any of our levy requests or bond requests that are out there, to make sure that we're taking care of the safety and security of our kids. So those are some examples of what we've done. We need to continue that work. We're also looking at putting some vestibules in some of our other schools where it's kind of a check-in place. You come in, you're able to see somebody face to face, that all right, you're good to go, then the door is open so that they can get into school proper. Just a way to control that access, and to try to do it in as seamless a way as we possibly can to try to avoid the schools not feeling welcoming, because that's the challenge that we have with that. I hope that helps, Ken. And so that work will continue as we try to improve upon that. Yes, Hal?
Well, Superintendent Dan, I just want to speak to a problem that I experienced for over 25 years as a soccer referee at Longview Memorial Stadium. I can't tell you how many times that assistant referees have caught a player before they came from the field to the asphalt, which was probably 6 inches in some locations. And just so you know, WIAA says we cannot touch the players. And I'm sorry that I touched them, but I saved them. And that's how I look at it. The second part of that is whatever track is going on, there's part of the field that is unusable, even though the line goes right by it. And so I hope it cures those kind of problems. And I know this plan's been in works for before you came here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can count on me.
All right, I appreciate that. And with that Memorial Stadium upgrade, we're looking at replacing that grass turf with artificial turf, expanding that field, a new track that will go around it. Again, that's work that is long overdue, and there are some real safety concerns that we have on those edges of the soccer field. Also doubles as our football field there. Also going to provide us a lot greater access to that space. Well, it's a rainy place that we live in. That grass gets torn up pretty easy, and by getting us to an artificial turf, then we'll be able to really expand the use of that to more community uses, but also more of getting our kids on that space, not only from an athletic standpoint, but in PE and in those options that we have available to our kids. Other questions? Yes, sir.
Dan, I'm a little bit curious when you were talking about lighting updates and replacements, if the district is still able to take advantage of BPA matching funds and rebates through the Cowlitz PUD as we used to do.
And yes, we are. To the degree possible. And in the work that we've done to date, we have accessed quite a bit with that. I'm not sure exactly how much continues to be available, but that's something our facilities guy is always in work with the PUD as we go through those adjustments that are made. Okay? You know, one other question that I've heard a lot, and I don't know how much you've followed all the pandemic stuff and related to schools, the emergency relief dollars that have come into the district as a result of the pandemic. We've gotten some federal help with helping with our response, and also the aftermath of kind of where we're at as we kind of get things all put back together, and we're getting real close to that. So I've been asked the question, well, can't you use those dollars instead of going to a capital projects and tech levy? And I think the key thing to that is those dollars coming from the federal government are very specific in their purpose. They need to be related to pandemic kind of issues. What we have plans with our dollars is to upgrade all of our HVAC systems throughout the district. We're in the middle of an extensive review and then really working on that air quality. We've got until 2024 to spend those funds that we have available to us. The capital projects and tech levy will allow us to finish those projects up that we start. You know, that we may not be able to get all of our schools done using those federal relief dollars, but then we'll be able to bring the capital projects and tech dollars in to help us with that. The other thing those funds are focused on is providing help to our kids from the learning loss that has resulted through this last couple years. So we've expanded our summer schools, expanding our after school work that we're doing with our kids. We've also provided additional nursing services. We've really working at intervention, credit retrieval kind of opportunities with our kids. And so looking at a lot of different areas and trying to figuring out a way that, all right, we've got the ESSER dollars, which are those federal dollars that are really helping us to keep the cost of the capital projects and tech levy down, because we can get some things done with those federal dollars, which means then we don't have to ask for more in the capital projects and tech dollars. And so there's a lot of work that we've done in trying to, how do we leverage each of those funding sources to best meet the needs of our kids? And so that's a question that I know is out there, and one that I just thought I'd throw out in front of you as well, in case you were wondering there. So, other questions? Okay?
Do you know how much money you're going to be generating
from the taxes, from the assessments. You talk about fixing fields and carpets and
Yep.
then you started throwing some other things out there. What else is this money being spent on other than, is it just upgrading and making the schools better? Or are there other projects and things that the money's going to be going to that you determine are more necessary? Is there a place you can see where the money is going?
Where it's going?
You know what, I mean, specifically, it sounded like it was just maintenance and upgrading.
Well, it is, but it's also, you look at roof replacements.
Oh, yeah, but we got that.
Yep.
You're talking about other programs, and you're starting to put, I'm worried about where is the money going? Is it going for social programs, or is it going for the project and the school
I see.
improvements?
The capital projects and tech levy can only be used for facility and technology improvements. It cannot be used for any instructional things. It cannot be used for salaries. It cannot be used for any staffing that would be out there. It has to be facilities or technology in terms of those updates that need to be taking place within the school district.
I think that's a tremendous positive statement there. Now, my question would be, if we're not getting these other things done, like you're talking about that field, the how you're talking about, it's been going on for over 25 years or longer than that. You obviously don't have enough money to take care of all the projects that you have in place. How short are we in getting the projects that need to be done?
Boy, you know, that's a great question, because we have I can't give you a dollar amount, but I can tell you that with this $21 million that we're looking at raising with the capital projects and tech levy, there are just a list of projects that are underneath that did not make the cut in terms of that. So it's really a matter of work that we've done to try to prioritize what are those things that are most important for us. And we really start looking at projects that, again, are going to do the best job of protecting our facilities and making sure that they don't get degraded, and again, extending that life. So it's been a lot of that discussion. That's been a lot of the work of the Facility Advisory Committee, is taking a look at those things. So it's really just us prioritizing, all right, these are the things that we need to get done first, knowing that there's other things left, and we kind of move ourselves along. I will tell you that, we failed a couple bond requests, and what we do have in this plan is to pick up some of those smaller projects that were in the bond request when it failed, and so that we're still able to get some of those things done. Obviously, we can't rebuild a school with this amount of money. We'd need a bond to be able to do that. So it's a way to just kind of make sure that we're taking care of what we have out there. Does that answer that?
Well, it's a problem everybody has. You don't have enough money to take care of the things you need. If you're asking for less money, or actually the same amount of money, and that same amount of money buys less, how can you expect to maintain what you've got? And with the new projects, the things are still deteriorating. Roofs are still getting older. I mean, why wouldn't you just try to keep the amount the same? And if the properties appreciate, you'll have more revenue. I'm just curious, why would you lower it?
Okay, that's a good question. And part of it is us trying to balance the needs of the school district while respecting the needs of our taxpayers, and making sure that we're putting something out there that the community can feel good about as well, and not feel overly burdened by that. Now, I'll kind of frame that up. Some of the federal funding that we've gotten as a result of the pandemic is helping us get more done than we would have got done otherwise. And so that has also helped us to be able to keep that ask down to a level that is, that slightly declines over that period of time. And so there's been some help there, so we're able to get more than $21 million worth of work done, because we've also got some federal help with that is kind of, that's one-time only dollars for us. Okay? Good questions. Yes, sir.
What has what's happened with your student FTE as far as it relates to state level funding for the district?
Yeah, we're down about 300 kids from where our enrollment was in 2019. Last year, the legislature passed a bill that it was an enrollment stabilization bill that basically they used 2019 student counts to determine the revenue coming into the school district. There's another bill in front of the legislature right now. It sounds like they're not going to do that again, but they're going to kind of split the difference. So we'll get some enrollment stabilization help from the state to help us with that. We do anticipate that enrollment will rebound back once we get more back to normal. Our federal dollars can also help us with that enrollment stabilization. So again, we're looking at, all right, the state's help that we're getting, the federal help, and how do we use those things together to make sure that we're continuing to provide the level of service that our kids and our families deserve over this period of time while we transition, basically until 2024. It's October of 2024 is when those federal dollars will no longer be available to us. Okay? Other questions? Yes?
Just a comment, reference this question. I believe they have announced in the news that the rate of inflation is approximately something leading up to 8%.
Yep.
And our increase in property taxes has sometimes been 35–40%. On top of earlier raises that were really quite high when there was no inflation.
Yep. It's an interesting environment right now, I'll tell you that. Ken, did you have something?
Just a comment I'd like to make, Dan. We stop to think about,
50 years ago, we had a fantastic educational system, as all of us in this room can say. Today's society is completely different than we had 50 years ago. Today we have parents that both work, so the kids are left alone. Our school system has gone to the opportunity to provide services and events and functions to help take care of that, to keep the kids occupied and doing things they should be doing. That takes place spaces and facilities and equipment to make those kind of things happen, including, as Hal talked about, his soccer expertise. Sports play a very big role in helping keep the kids moving, to keep the kids on the positive side of things instead of sitting around and following her sister's problem of little marijuana. We keep the kids busy and doing things. So this money that's being raised by this levy, to answer some of those questions, the needs today are far greater than they were 50 years ago. And we're meeting those needs very effectively in the Longview School District.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions at all? I encourage you, if you do have some questions, go to longviewschools.com, our district website. You'll be able to go to a link. There's videos on there. There's information like you've got right here. The FAQs are on there. So there's a lot of information on our website. So if you're talking to people that are wondering what's going on, just send them to the district website and they can get that information they need. Again, that's at longviewschools.com. All right. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it greatly. Oh, I turned it off.
That's okay, I'll turn it.
Now it's on. There.
Tyson, thank you guys for giving us that information. Okay, moving on. Mark, we got anything for Sunshine?
Maryland's conference, May 13th and 14th. That table with their pretty tablecloth.
The conference is gonna be over there on that table?
Put some more tweets on, Jim.
Greg, you got something?
President Tom, Bill Lions and guests, two things. First of all, I've got membership apps with me, like I always do. The second has to do with our budget. I'm on the budget committee, and I'm checking on dues that have been paid. We are 59% paid dues. And there's a number of you in the room, I just went through the list, that have not paid your dues. Please get those in. It'll save us some bucks and sending another notice out.
Thank you. Terry, do you got something?
Hey, for my second song, there's a, since Gina is sort of unable to be here, I'm grabbing a awards committee meeting right here at this table. If I could have that tablecloth over here.
All right, Cindy, you got something?
Hurry!
We got it.
President Tom, members and guests, I'm sending out another flyer. LNA still needs help through the Battleground Lions for the Beer Fest that's coming up this next weekend. So I'll send it out. So if you want to sign up, you can. It's really easy.
Marilyn, you got something?
Here I come, Marilyn.
I'm getting my exercise.
President Tom, fellow Lions and guests, I want to remind you that we have a redistricting proposal from MD19 in front of us, and for an open discussion and information Wednesday night. Did that get forwarded, Cindy?
No, today.
Maybe today. I was sending out another reminder. Tomorrow night, a Zoom meeting is available from 7 to 8, and Cindy will send out that reminder and Zoom link.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Did I forget anybody else? Okay, the only other thing I have is that there's a board meeting Thursday at 8 o'clock at Leroy's office.
Does Leroy know?
Not yet, but he will.
You won't be here.
8 a.m.
1425 Maple.
I was told to tell you it's in the a.m.
Donuts, Leroy, donuts.
Cindy, do we have any senility?
Feel free to bring your donuts.
Look around.
Yes, we do, President Tom. Marie and Walt didn't sign in today.
All right.
Give it to the Levy fund.
So with that, wow, $5. Don't sign in next week either. Anyway, moving along, we just went through all of the events that are going on, and unless somebody has something else. Let's go on to the white ticket. 171251.
252.
Who got it? Again? Okay, while they're doing that, let's do the red ticket. 056 583. Skip got it. Where do you want it to go?
As always, the education fund.
The what?
Okay.
What is it?
Dynasty.
I'm not so
All right, now baked goods.
Yay!
Yay! Oh no!
President Tom, first pick goes to Ken Patero. Whatever's left over goes goes to Dick Sorensen.
Are they putting in a lot of money or just a dollar? Should be putting in 10 or 15. They win every week. Okay. 12 cards are left. All right. With that being said, let's close the meeting.